Yes, I know, the Sony A9 isn't the newest camera by Sony, but I think it's still valid mostly for wildlife photography, where I believe it has the best price-performance ratio, and nowadays with this worldwide chip shortage it's better to stay down to earth until the situation will get better. Before going on, if you are interested in a topic like that, and if you love wildlife photography like me, you can consider to subscribe to my channel in order to help me for making always more videos. So let's crack on. Okay, I don't want to make another review of this wonderful camera, even though I made a short video that you can watch clicking the link above. On YouTube and on the net in general there are plenty of reviews about the Sony A9 by many users, and there are many wildlife photographers that are using this camera, so I was wondering if we have all the same settings. And thinking about that, I decided to make this video with my personal setting for wildlife photography. Speaking about camera settings, I divide them in 3 sections: general settings, AF settings, and finally wildlife settings. So let's get started with the general settings. The first one is color space, and I use Adobe RGB in order to have the best color quality. Then I use the multi-metering mode for general purpose, so for wildlife as well. But when I use the spot metering method, I prefer to use the focus point link in order to have the right exposition in the focus point. The white balance is automatic, seeing that I shot in RAW. And to be more precise, I prefer using the compressed RAW because there isn't so much a difference with uncompressed files, and shooting RAW will allow you to better manage your images in post-production. You have to consider that sometimes you'll photograph in critical weather conditions, so maybe with changing light, so having the chance to adjust in post-production every aspect of your images because of the RAW file is really good. For the autofocus, I use these settings. First of all, I use the AFC mode, the continuous autofocus. So when I half press the shutter button, the camera is going on to focus even with subjects in motion. With this setting, I prefer to use the balance emphasis as a priority, but I saw is a good compromise. The area setting depends on the situation. In general, I use the real-time tracking system with large flexible spot for big animals and medium or small for birds, but I also use the zone focus area when I'm not sure about the direction and where the subject will come. Then the sensitive AF is set to 3 or 2 depending on the situation, but with 3 I have the right value for following any subject in different environment contexts. And finally, my specific wildlife setting. Okay, the first is the electronic shutter. I'll never be tired to say that noises are bad for animals. I explained the reason in one of my last videos about differences between DSLR and mirrorless cameras, so if you are interested, you can watch it clicking the link above. Anyway, the following settings are about ISO. I prefer using the auto ISO with a minimum value of 100 and the maximum value of 6400, but in some circumstances I set 1200 as a maximum value. And to be honest, I have to be really desperate, because after I'll have to work really hard in post-production. Then I use the ISO Auto Min Duo for having the minimum shutter speed of at least 1/2000th, and if there is enough light, or 1/4000th, but be careful because those values are true only when there is enough light. So in direct light condition, you'll never reach those shutter speed and the camera will give you what it can. But I repeat, when there is the right amount of light, that setting will allow you to have a really good shutter speed and to freeze your subject in motion. The last settings are related to the face eyes. In a specific way, I set the face eyes priority on in order to set the animal detection. In this case, I'm always ready to turn off the setting when the camera can't recognize properly the eyes, because sometimes it can't due to many reasons. Like for example, a false eyes pattern really close to the animal eyes. So in a situation like that, the camera gets in error when it's focusing. Okay, these are the base of my settings for live photography. Of course, I change them when I need it, but generally only in some situation. If you are using different settings, tell me what are please and why you use it. Okay, it's time to say goodbye. So first of all, thanks for watching, and if you liked my video, please give me a like or subscribe to the channel. As always, take care and respect the nature. Cheers!